Hello, I'm Christina Vanderwater. Today in the Bouncing Off the Walls Resin Studio, I'm going to dissect white. Why? Because a lot of people are asking all over the place. I see this question all the time. How do you get a nice white solid resin? Not a pearl resin, not off-white, not something that's shiny. People want a nice solid white. As well, you might be struggling with the nice, beautiful ocean wave cells, and it's possible that you're just not using the right product. I see a lot of new people that are new to the art that are asking what to use. They're not sure if they haven't been shown. You use mica powders, there's alcohol inks, there are liquid pastes. So we're going to dive in today. We're going to test them all out. I'm going to show you how each one looks when it's mixed into the resin and how to achieve that nice solid white. As well, we're going to show you how each one creates ocean waves, and then you'll have a better understanding of which product gives you which results, and you'll know what to look for when you're shopping. So let's get to it. The whites that we're going to be working with today, I have a pure white from Black Diamond Pigments. This is a powder, and it is called Pure White. I also have a pearl white. We have a white alcohol ink from Jacquard Products. This is the Pinata alcohol inks. They are my favorite. We have, I don't have the label on here anymore, it's just peeled off. This is a white liquid paste from Nurpa Polymers. And we also have the Let's Resin Ocean White liquid pigments. We're going to try all of these. I'm going to show you what their uses are for and what ways they can serve you best. We are going to start with the mica powders. What are mica powders? Mica is a rock. If you've ever seen it in nature, you know that it has a real sparkle and sheen to it. It reflects light. Therefore, when they make pigment powders out of mica, it's also going to reflect light. What they do, they grind the rock to a really fine powder, and you're going to have that reflectiveness to it. This is a Black Diamond Pure White. This one has a lot less of reflective qualities to it than some of these satin ones. As you can see, it looks a little more matte. Now, Black Diamond Pigments does have a matte white as well. It would be the least pearlescent of any of their pigments in the powder form. Even though these ones have a lot less sheen to them, it's still there because they are made with mica. They are a mica powder. Now, this one is a satin, so you can see without me even opening the bag how the light reflects off that, and it looks very pearly. When you're buying, you want to watch for names like pearlescence, pearl, satin, diamond. All of those names mean that you're going to have a lot of reflection and things are going to be sparkly. They're going to look pearly. And if you're looking for a solid white, then powders are not the way to go. Any powder, regardless of how pure white, how solid white it is still going to come out looking off-white or a little bit more yellowy than you want, a little bit more pearlish, as you can see with this. So if you're looking for a nice solid white, like my countertop, you're going to want a liquid paste. Liquid pastes are a lot more concentrated. They are, as they are stated, they are a liquid and a nice solid white. They don't have a sheen to them. Now, they can make you some metallic colors perhaps, but if you're going for a solid color, oftentimes people are looking for solid white, black, red, those colors, and they don't want a sheen to it, then you want a paste. This one is from Nurpa Polymers. I just don't have the label on it right now. And then this is also a Let's Resin Ocean one that's also a concentrated paste. So these are the ones that are going to give you that solid white color. Another option for coloring your resin is alcohol ink. Now, alcohol inks are not all created equal and they will fade over time. My favorite is the Jacquard brand Pinata inks. They are actually really, really good. I've done some tests and had colors last in resin sitting in the sun for more than a year without it fading. White alcohol ink, although a nice pure white, well, that one's not opened yet. Although it's a nice pure white, it still will yellow once the resin has cured a little bit. So if you're using it just to color things with, it's really slight, but it does go a little bit off-white when it cures. But I find that alcohol ink is great if you're trying to do specific effects like a galaxy effect, or you're working with UV resin, then the alcohol ink is a great way to go. Again, looking for that solid white, liquid paste. So which colorant do you use for which type of project? Well, part of that's going to depend on what you're working on. I find that if you're looking for a beautiful, blended, cloudy sort of effect, then you might want to have some sheen to that. Or if you're just pouring something for a charcuterie board, you know, a powder is a good way to go. If you're looking for lacy ocean waves, you're going to want liquid, and I'm definitely going to show you that. If you're looking for solid white epoxy, go with the liquid. If you're doing some little jewelry, trinkets and such, then alcohol ink is going to be your friend. I want to show you with this black diamond pigment how you can kind of see what it will look like once it's in the resin. Just dip a popsicle stick or something in there and just rub it a bit on your hand. And then you'll be able to see in the light how pearly that it looks. A lot of mica powders are used for makeup, and there's a reason for this, because they have a nice sheen to them. You can see how that kind of sparkles a bit in the light. Most mica powders are going to do this. I'm also going to show you with this Nirpa one. It's a different brand, but it's still going to have that same mica powder effect where you can catch that pearlescence is the word I like to use. Using a 2-part coating epoxy from Nirpa Polymers, I'm going to just put a little bit in each one of these cups, and then we're going to test out each one of our colorants in the cups so that you can see how they come out for color and how they come out for clarity. For the sake of this demonstration, we're going for a solid color, so I'm going to put enough colorant in each one that it's not going to be translucent. Working clockwise so we can keep track of which cup has which pigment in it, we are going to start in the top left with the black diamond pure white, and I'm just putting a little bit in each one, kind of about the same amount. This is a Nirpa pigment. It is called Winter Pearl, so obviously with a name like Pearl, you know it's going to have some sheen to it. Next, bottom left, we are going to add some of the liquid paste from Nirpa Polymers, and I'm doing enough of that so that we can have a nice solid white. Again, not going for translucent here. And lastly, in the last cup, we're going to do the alcohol ink. I'm actually using my bottle that is a refill bottle here, and I spill it everywhere, which I don't recommend doing because alcohol ink is not cheap. Got everything mixed up here, and one thing I did want to note is that the alcohol ink makes the resin a lot thinner. It does break the resin down a little bit, so it's way runnier than the regular liquid paste one. I'm just going to fill these heart molds in the same order that we mixed so that you can see the colors, how they turn out, and all of that. First heart is the black diamond pure white. Second is the Nirpa Polymers Winter Pearl pigment. These are both mica powders that we've poured so far. Third is the Nirpa Polymers White Liquid Paste. Lastly is the Pinata Alcohol Ink. Now you can already tell just by looking at these hearts which ones are giving you a more solid white and which ones are giving you that pearly look. But I'm going to let these cure, and then we're going to have a look at them out of the mold. Okay, these have cured, and look at the difference in the color just overnight. The alcohol ink one is not even close to white. I'm going to take these out of here and give you an up-close look. So this first one was the Pure White by Black Diamond Pigments. As you can see, you have it's beautiful. If you're going for solid white, mica pigment's not the way to go. It's got that nice pearly look. Now the Winter Pearl by Nirpa, also a mica pigment, looks very similar to the Black Diamond. That's because they're both mica pigments. As you can see, it also has a pearly look to it. Here's our winner. If solid white is what you're going for, it's your solid white liquid paste. And there's your white. You really can't go wrong with that. Nice pure white. But look at what the alcohol ink did. I can't believe actually how much it did change overnight. I knew it would yellow, but not quite this much. It's a beautiful color if you're going for off-white. So as you can see, different colorants are going to give you different results. And obviously, those results are going to depend on what you're going for. You might want the pearly, you might want the off-white. It's totally up to you, but now you have a better understanding of which colors are going to give you which effect and which ones you might want if you're going for that solid white color that everybody craves. Now we are going to take these same pigments with the exception of the alcohol ink, and we're going to do some ocean waves with them so you can see the difference in how the pigment choice can make a difference to your oceans. For this demonstration, I just took some navy blue paint and did a rough coat on some scrap wood. Just want to show off the effect. I'm also using a coating epoxy from Nerpa Polymers. It is a 2-part tabletop style resin. As for how much pigment I'm using in each cup of resin, I'm essentially doing the same thing we did in the earlier experiment where I'm just putting enough to make a solid color. I'm not going for translucent because we're going to be doing the ocean lacing part of the waves over clear resin, so we don't want it to blend too much. So I'm just making it a nice solid white. The second one is our liquid paste from Nerpa Polymers. Again, I just put enough to make a solid white color. The last one, we're using the Let's Resin Ocean White pigment. Now, this is the first time I'm actually trying this. I bought it specifically for this experiment, and so I could try it. I'm putting about the same amount as I did with the other liquid paste. However, this one does say it's more concentrated, so you only need a few drops, but we'll test that out and see. Again, just to keep this experiment simple, we're not going to get into any other colors. We're just going to do a clear coat for the ocean water part on each one of these boards so that we can just test out the white because that's what we're actually experimenting with. First up is the mica pigment. Now, I never do ocean waves with mica pigment. This would be the first time for me, so I'm also going to see how this turns out. The second one here is the Nerpa liquid paste, which is what I usually use. And third is the Let's Resin Ocean White, which is made specifically for this purpose. Again, my first time using it, so we're going to see. I shall do my best to keep the same technique going with each one of these boards with my heat gun so that we get a fair experiment. When I'm doing waves, I just run my heat gun back and forth. I try and get a rippling effect in the resin itself because that's what actually creates a lot of the effect. And we're going to just do the same thing on each of these. So this one here is the mica pigment, and you can't tell that great in the video, but it does have that pearly sheen to it. It's a little bit prettier than I was expecting, to be honest. Here is the regular white liquid paste, which is what I usually use. Now, obviously, the amount of liquid paste that you use in the resin, the amount that you put down on the artwork, and even how thick your line is going to make a difference. Your technique with the heat gun, it all plays a part in how your ocean waves look. And lastly, the Let's Resin Ocean White. This one was created specifically for making oceans and getting nice cells, so we're going to see if that is the case. I tried to keep things as even as I could between these three boards, so we will compare them in the end and see the different looks that each gives us. It should also be noted that I put the white down immediately after the clear with no waiting. Here are the results immediately after. This is the mica powder. Again, it has a real pearly look to it that you can't see so well on film, but trust me, it is there. I was able to still achieve some cells in this, which surprised me because I wasn't expecting that. Here is the regular liquid paste. It came out a little bit heavier right around the actual waveline, but I've seen oceans like this. And here is the Let's Resin one, and it does have a lot of cells. If cells are what you're going for, I would definitely say it's a winner in that category for sure. Okay, and now this is 5 minutes later because I wanted to see how things might change after sitting. And here is the mica powder, way more cells than I expected. Here is the regular liquid paste, has quite a few cells itself, but it's a lot thicker. I actually like this one a lot because it does give some different effects that the real ocean has. And here is that Let's Resin Ocean one, and definitely if cells are your thing, this is what you want. 3 different color methods, 3 different results, and guess what? None of them are the right way or the wrong way. They each have their own look, which makes it amazing. So as you can see, every product is going to have its own results, but it's not just the products. Obviously, the resin that you use, your own techniques, how you move things, the heat gun, there's so many factors to it. But what I really want to stress is you don't want your work to look like everybody else's. If you've been online enough and you've looked at other artists' work, you'll see that some people, you can just tell it's their work as soon as you see it. Why? Because they kind of have a signature style. I really implore you to work on that yourself. Do lots of experimenting, figure out what your style is, and don't try and be the same as everybody else. Every ocean wave is different. We all kind of have our own techniques, and it's a lot of fun to just experiment and figure it out. Just because one person is doing it one way doesn't mean that's the right way. If you look at Mother Nature and the ocean, it doesn't all look the same all the time. Different conditions gives you different results, and the same is with resin. So get out there, have fun, experiment, and see what you can create. Thanks for watching. All the products are linked below, and I hope you have a great day.